The moving truck had arrived 3 days ago, but I'd barely seen my new neighbor. Just glimpses, a figure moving behind curtains, a shadow crossing the hallway. When I finally met her face to face outside our apartment doors, my breath caught. She was stunning in an unsettling way. Her features were almost too perfect, too symmetrical, like an artist had spent years perfecting every angle. Her skin held an unusual luminescence, as if lit from within, and her eyes, dark violet, shifting like storm clouds, held mine with unnerving intensity. "I'm Alara," she said, her voice carrying a melodic quality that didn't quite match any accent I knew. "Your neighbor." "Jake," I managed, suddenly aware of how ordinary I must seem. "Welcome to the building." Her lips curved into something between a smile and a study of what a smile should be. "Thank you. I've been observing you. Through the walls." I laughed nervously. "The walls are pretty thin, yeah. Sorry if I've been too loud." "No." She stepped closer, and I caught her scent, something like rain on warm stone, impossible to place. "I mean, I've been watching you, Jake. Learning about you. The way you make coffee at exactly 6:15 every morning. How you tap your fingers against your thigh when you're thinking. The small kindness you showed that elderly woman last Tuesday." My stomach tightened with a mixture of fear and something else, something electric. That's kind of invasive." "I know." She reached out, her fingers hovering inches from my face, not quite touching. "But I couldn't help it. You're fascinating. Human, but somehow more than the others I've observed." "Human?" The word hung between us. Alara's eyes flickered, and for just a moment, something inhuman passed across her features. A shimmer, a geometric pattern beneath her skin. "I'm not from here, Jake. Not from this world. I came to study your species, but something went wrong." Her voice dropped to a whisper that seemed to caress my skin. "I can't stop wanting you. It's not part of my mission. It's dangerous for both of us. But every moment, every heartbeat of yours I hear through these walls. I burn with need. I should have backed away. Should have called someone, locked my door, questioned my sanity. Instead, I found myself leaning closer, drawn by something primal and unexplainable. "What do you want from me?" I asked, though I already knew the answer was written in the hunger of her gaze. "Everything," she breathed. "And I'm afraid of what I might do to have it." She turned and disappeared into her apartment, leaving me standing in the hallway, my life forever changed by those violet eyes and the promise of something beyond ordinary desire. I couldn't sleep that night. Every sound from Alara's apartment sent electricity through my nerves. Around midnight, I heard her moving, pacing perhaps. The rhythm was too steady, too perfect, like a metronome counting down to something inevitable. At 2 a.m., there was a knock at my door. She stood in the hallway wearing a simple white dress that somehow made her otherworldly beauty even more pronounced. Her violet eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. "I shouldn't be here," she said, but she was already stepping inside as I moved back automatically. "This violates every protocol. But I've tried to stay away, Jake. For 3 days I've tried." "What are you?" I asked, closing the door behind her. "My kind doesn't have a name you could pronounce. We're observers. We travel between worlds, cataloging life, understanding evolution across the cosmos." She moved through my apartment like water, her fingers trailing across surfaces with curiosity. "We're taught to remain detached. Clinical. But something about your world, about you." She turned to face me, and the vulnerability in her expression was startlingly human. "I'm feeling things I'm not supposed to be capable of feeling." "Like what?" "Longing." She crossed to me, close enough that I could see patterns beneath her skin, like constellations mapping unknown territories. "Jealousy when I hear you talk to others. This, ache when you're not near. Is this what you call love? Or is it just chemistry, biology, the way your species tricks itself into reproduction?" I reached up slowly, giving her time to pull away, and cupped her face. Her skin was warm but different, smoother than silk, with a faint pulse that didn't quite match human rhythms. "Does it matter what we call it?" Her eyes closed at my touch, and a soft sound escaped her lips, pleasure mixed with something like pain. "My people, we don't have physical intimacy the way yours do. We merge consciousness temporarily, share thoughts and memories. But here, in this form, I feel everything you would feel." Her hands came up to grip my wrists, not pulling away but holding on like I was an anchor. "And I want to experience it all with you." "What happens if you do?" I asked, my voice rough. "I don't know." Her eyes opened, meeting mine with frightening honesty. "I might lose myself completely. Forget my purpose. Become too human to return home. Or," she leaned closer until our foreheads touched, and I felt a strange tingling where our skin connected, like static electricity with consciousness behind it. I might accidentally hurt you. My kind is stronger than we appear. More intense. What feels gentle to me might overwhelm you. Show me, I whispered. Her kiss was like nothing I'd ever experienced, not just lips and breath, but something deeper. Colors exploded behind my eyes, and for a moment, I saw what she saw: endless stars, alien worlds, the vast loneliness of traveling between them. I felt her isolation, her curiosity about the warmth of human connection, and beneath it all, the terrifying depth of her desire for me specifically. We barely made it to my bedroom. Ilara's kiss had unlocked something primal in both of us, a hunger that transcended species, worlds, understanding. She pressed me against the wall, her strength surprising despite her delicate frame. I'm trying to be gentle, she murmured against my neck, and I felt the scrape of teeth that were slightly too sharp. Tell me if it's too much. Don't be too gentle, I breathed, pulling at her dress. The fabric seemed to dissolve at my touch. I later learned it wasn't clothing at all but part of her, a biomolecular adaptation. Beneath it, her body was human in shape, but marked with those same constellation patterns, glowing faintly with bioluminescence. They pulsed in rhythm with her quickening breath. You're beautiful, I said, tracing one of the patterns across her collarbone. Where I touched, the light brightened, and she gasped. Sensitive, she managed, her fingers working at my clothes with less grace, yanking, tearing in her urgency. Everything here is so much more intense than I calculated. We tumbled onto the bed, a tangle of human and alien, ordinary and impossible. Her skin against mine created that same electric tingling, and I realized we were sharing something, sensations bleeding between us, so that I felt both my desire and hers, a feedback loop of pleasure that bordered on overwhelming. Jake, she moaned as I kissed down her throat, and hearing my name in that otherworldly voice nearly undid me. Her hands tangled in my hair, gripping too hard but perfectly so, and guided me lower. When I reached the patterns on her stomach, I kissed them experimentally. The light flared bright, and Ilara's back arched off the bed with a cry that wasn't entirely human, higher-pitched, resonant, like music. There, she gasped, trembling. We're more sensitive where the patterns are. It's like you're touching my consciousness directly. I mapped her body with kisses, learning which patterns made her moan, which made her grip the sheets with enough force to tear them. She was responsive in ways both familiar and alien, her pleasure building in waves I could feel echoing in my own body. When she pushed me onto my back and straddled me, her eyes were glowing fully now, violet light filling the room. I want to merge with you, she said, her voice layered with harmonics. The way my kind does. But in this physical form too. Is that all right? Yes, I said, and as she sank down onto me, I felt it, that connection deepening, consciousness touching consciousness. The pleasure was exponential. I felt myself through her perception, the heat of my skin, the racing of my heartbeat, the desire in my eyes. And she let me feel her, the alien quality of experiencing physical sensation for the first time, the overwhelming intensity of emotions she'd never evolved to process, and beneath it all, genuine love blooming where her species said it couldn't exist. We moved together, and the boundaries between us blurred. I woke to sunlight streaming through windows and Ilara's luminescent patterns dimmed to barely visible traces against her skin. She was curled against me, her breathing steady but her eyes open, watching me with an expression I couldn't read. Morning, I said, brushing hair from her face. I stayed too long. She didn't pull away from my touch, but tension crept into her voice. They'll notice soon. My people. They monitor us and I've been distracted. How much trouble are you in? The kind that ends in recall. Or termination. She said it matter-of-factly, but I felt her fear through the lingering connection between us, a thin thread of consciousness that hadn't fully separated. What we did last night, the merging, it's irreversible, Jake. Part of me will always be connected to you now. Part of you to me. My superiors will consider it contamination. I sat up, pulling her with me. Then don't go back. Stay here. With me. It's not that simple. She touched my face, and images flooded my mind. Vast ships hidden in Earth's orbit, beings like her but colder, more detached, and protocols for dealing with compromised observers. If I stay, they'll come for me. And they'll consider you a threat, a human who knows too much, who's been altered by contact. Altered how? She took my hand and pressed it to her chest, just above her heart. Through our connection, I felt it, something new in me, an awareness that hadn't been there before. I could sense her even when I closed my eyes, feel the faint pulse of other consciousnesses in nearby apartments, catch glimpses of the vast network her people use to communicate across light years. "You're changing," she said softly. "The merging started it. The more we're together, the more you'll change. Eventually, you won't be fully human anymore. And her voice broke. I'm already not what I was. I've fallen, Jake. That's what they'll call it. Falling into human emotion, human attachment. Falling in love." Before I could respond, her entire body tensed. The patterns across her skin flared bright red, a warning I understood instinctively through our bond. "They're here," she whispered. "They've found me." The lights in my apartment flickered. Electronics died. And through our connection, I felt them, cold, vast intelligences descending like judgment from above. Elara pulled me close, her lips finding mine in a desperate kiss. "I'm so sorry," she breathed against my mouth. "Sorry for involving you. Sorry for changing you. Sorry for loving you when I knew it would end like this." "Don't apologize for love," I said, holding her tighter. "What do we do?" Her eyes met mine, glowing violet determination cutting through the fear. "We run. Or we fight. But either way," she smiled, fierce and beautiful. "Either way, I'm not leaving you." The temperature in my apartment dropped 20 degrees in seconds. Frost spread across windows in geometric patterns too perfect to be natural. And then they appeared, not materializing so much as my eyes suddenly being able to perceive what had always been there. 3 beings similar to Elara but taller, their features sharper and colder. Their patterns didn't glow with light, but seemed to absorb it, creating shadows in the shape of bodies. When they spoke, it wasn't with voices but directly into my mind, and the intrusion felt like ice picks through my skull. "Observer Elara 7. You have violated primary protocols." Elara stepped in front of me, her body tense. Through our bond, I felt her terror warring with fierce protectiveness. "I know what I've done, but you can't take him. He's innocent in this. He is contaminated. Altered. The contamination must be contained." "He's a person," Elara said, her voice steady despite the fear I felt radiating from her. "And I love him. That's not contamination, that's evolution. Maybe that's what you've forgotten during all your cold observation." The beings shifted, their attention focusing fully on me, and the weight of their consciousness pressed down like atmosphere from a gas giant. I gasped, my knees buckling, but Elara caught me, her touch creating a shield between their minds and mine. "Love is chemical processes. Evolutionary programming. Nothing more." "Then why are you afraid of it?" I managed to say through gritted teeth, the words forced out despite the pressure. "If it's nothing, why does it matter that she feels it?" Silence. The pressure eased slightly. "Explain your reasoning, human." I straightened, holding Elara's hand, drawing strength from our connection. "You observe species, right? Study how they evolve, adapt. Well, maybe this is Elara adapting. Evolving. Learning something you can't learn from distance and detachment. If you recall her now, terminate her or me, you lose all that data. All that understanding of what happens when your species truly connects with another." Through our bond, I felt Elara's surprise and hope flaring. The beings conferred silently among themselves, their patterns shifting and flowing. "Finally, an experiment then. Observer Elara 7 will remain. Her bond with the human will be studied. If this love proves to be more than biological programming, if true evolution occurs, we will reassess our protocols. But if harm comes to either participant, if the contamination spreads uncontrolled, immediate termination will follow." "We accept," Elara said before I could speak. "You understand the terms? You will be isolated from your kind, Elara 7. Trapped in human form, experiencing human vulnerability, human mortality. And you, Jake Torres, will continue to change, never fully human or alien. This path leads to uncertainty." Elara turned to me, her violet eyes searching mine. "What do you think? Are you willing to walk into the unknown with me?" I thought about my ordinary life before she arrived. The routine, the predictability, the loneliness I hadn't even recognized until she filled it. Then I looked at this impossible being who'd crossed galaxies and risked everything just to be close to me. "The unknown sounds perfect," I said, pulling her into a kiss. The beings vanished as suddenly as they'd appeared, taking the cold with them. Warmth flooded back into the apartment, and Elara collapsed against me, her patterns glowing brilliant gold, relief and joy and love all mixed together. "So," I said, holding her close, "what do we do now?" She laughed, the sound purely human and delighted. "We live. We learn. We love. and we show them that some contaminations are worth spreading. That night, as we lay tangled together in bed, I felt our connection deepening further. I was changing, seeing colors I'd never seen before, sensing presences beyond normal perception, feeling the vast universal era came from calling to something new awakening inside me. But I was also more human than ever, because I was choosing love over safety, connection over isolation, the beautiful uncertainty of sharing life with someone impossible and perfect and real. "I'm your alien neighbor," Elara whispered in the darkness, her patterns casting soft light across our entwined bodies. "And I can't stop wanting you." "Good," I whispered back, kissing her constellation-marked shoulder. "Don't stop. Don't ever stop." Outside our window, stars gleamed with new significance, no longer distant points of light but potential, promise, and proof that love could bridge any distance, even the space between worlds.